K.T., that was one of the most ludicrous statements I've ever. Podesta just let it all just trip off his tongue.
Donald Trump's a Russian agent. Watch out, you know, spies among us. I mean, it shows their desperation. And if anybody has a connection to the Russians, it's Hillary Clinton, because money went in to the Clinton Foundation. Russian money went into
just $145 million.
Spare change. Into the Clinton Foundation. What comes out of the State Department from Secretary Clinton's secretaryship? A waiver for the Russians to buy 20% of the United States uranium production. Guess what uranium is used for? Nuclear weapons.
Yeah, it is. And by the way, Podesta, his firm, lobbying for Russia. I mean, it just goes on and on.
But the beautiful part of that, he said, my emails. No denial. My emails. And those.
Well, it's kind of hard for him to deny it, let's be honest. Or Assange will give him another little boost.
It's been pretty amazing to me for a guy who's been around as long as he has to put all that stuff in emails and what have you. And it's
this thing about Russia, though.
Right.
Yeah.
Russia. The Russians are coming. I think that movie was made back, in the late 60s, 70s.
Right.
It is.
Jonathan Winter.
It was a terrific movie, but it's a lousy, if you will, device for a political campaign, isn't it?
Well, one guy who's actually quite pleased with it is Vladimir Putin, who has bragged the fact that Russia has a central role in the American campaign, and it shows that Russia is back as a major strategic power because they're taken so seriously.
And as we look at this business with the Russians, the Clinton campaign, there is a serious element within that, in that Putin said long ago that, you know, there's a prospect here of a nuclear war if Hillary Clinton is elected. The foundation for that?
Well, I have no idea. Maybe the Russians paid for her daughter's wedding out of the foundation. I don't know. To me, the serious thing...
Well, they certainly contributed heavily.
Yes, they did. The serious thing to me is having dealt with the Russians as we did the Soviet Union at that time during the Reagan years, they understand strength. And they clearly see Donald Trump as a man of strength. And I think the military sees him as a man of strength who could be a better commander-in-chief. I think the Russians would love to have Hillary Clinton because they'll roll right over as they have for the last 4 or 8 years of this administration. Yeah,
a third term of what has been a disastrous 2 terms of defense policy and foreign policy, I guess would make them salivate. But I also have to wonder, as we look at this election going forward, is foreign policy really playing a part at all in the vote?
Well, I don't know about the vote, but it certainly will play a part in whoever's the next president.
Well, no, I understand, but I don't see a compelling interest right now in foreign policy. You could argue that Obama's just about cured everybody of foreign policy, given the disasters. But this country is drifting right now in the most troubling way.
Though. I mean,
and equally as important, there's not much debate on the domestic policy. I mean, obviously, both have laid out a domestic policy. They haven't driven it. The foreign policy, historically, is not very much a factor unless we're at war. We are at war. And we kind of have a tendency to forget that. And that Middle East, which we sort of pretend like it's not ours, it is ours. And basically, we didn't finish it.
And Trump, with his economic populism, his America First foreign policy, I have to tell you, that is a simple statement of what really, to me, is a very rational policy. Put America first. I mean, that's considered radical and nationalist. And if you're not a nationalist, you're a globalist. And if you're a globalist, you don't give a damn about this country.
Well, look, I study countries like Russia and China and Iran and North Korea. They're putting themselves first. So anybody who says,
how dare they?
Oh, how dare they? You know, we've got to think of their interests
how radical
first.
They're
not thinking of ours.
Yeah. But isn't it stunning that you've got these wags, particularly from the left, running around going, oh, you're going to be a nationalist. Yes, yeah, I'm an American. I'm going to be a nationalist.
Don't forget how this president started before he got his Nobel Peace Prize in the first 3 weeks. He ran around the world apologizing for the United States foreign policy, which I was appalled by, and I'm sure every other American was. We saved Europe. We basically have been a great friend, great ally to the rest of the world, and he basically apologized for our foreign affairs, and it's never stopped.
Yeah, and the troubles have just compounded themselves. You know, it's a fascinating time, but I'd still love the ring of America First. That's my kind of foreign policy. I love it.
It used to be ours, too.
Yeah, well, we can fix that. Donald Trump has told us how, too. Thank you very much, both of you. I appreciate it, K.T. Great to see you, and good to see you again this evening.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Up next.